talking in it.
Bear down. Bear down.
It's a bear down.
Who you finna call? Banter. First things first, what's the team in question? Her Soldier Field got a couple lethal weapons. Bear down, first down, couple key possessions. Come to the post game, watch them teach some lessons. Say, what? I don't think them people are convinced. I say call them, but they tell you how to read a blitz. They in cover 2. Tell me why they switch to cover 6 every Friday at 7:30. No, I cannot miss. Like, Hey, yo. Yeah, we live for the post game show.
The Bears lose 19-16 to the weak Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh my! Now we got a bunch of Bears fans running around here in a frenzy and panic. Let's talk about it. Bears Banter talk show right now.
Let's talk about it.
Free Pablo.
Hey, Bears fall to Detroit Lions 19-16 in what appeared to me as an uninspired game. You can understand by Detroit if they was uninspired, but not by the Bears. If they was gonna play that uninspired, they could have just played the backups, But they came back and made a game of it eventually. But it just was a little bit too late.
Yeah, I think Detroit actually, they showed me a little something in this game, even though, last game they blew us out. This game, I think they were missing, maybe 10 of their primary players, and they still made a show of it. That Amon-Ra St. Brown, that dude is legit, and it actually helps when nobody on the other team wants to try to even shadow you as a defensive deterrent. So that whole display from a Bears defensive standpoint, that was pretty horrible, man. I hope we got something better next week in the playoffs. We'll see.
Man, let me just say something that I've been saying for the past couple of years. Jalen Johnson is trash. Straight up adulterated trash. He couldn't even the dude is so bad, he can't even stick nobody so bad. They won't even put protective order papers on him because he won't even be close.
They couldn't find tricks in a trick bag with a Hubble telescope, man.
That
was horrible.
I'm gonna ask Jalen Johnson to change his number back to 33 because
he can't wear 1. He can't wear 1.
He got to get off. He got to get a number that nobody in the history of the NFL has ever worn.
Yeah, 63 should be his number.
No, he said 3 digits. 666.
How about 8.5? Shoe size or something. I don't know.
Hey, how many catches did Amon-Ra St. Brown ended up with? What, about 12 or so? I stopped
enough.
He had 11 catches and 15 targets, 139 yards.
Wow.
Well, it wasn't like nobody was offering any resistance to every time he ran. I was like, man, from Dennis Allen's standpoint, and I generally stand up for him, and because he's a good defensive coordinator. I don't know what he's calling. How many times can you lead those guys out there in man-to-man when it's clear it's not working? You can't keep up with those wide receivers going across the entire field. If that's a zone defense, all you're doing as a zone is passing them off to the next DB.
Yeah,
so I don't know what the heck he's been doing out there.
You got one of the slowest cornerbacks sticking a slant, and it showed. When Jalen went on it, when he caught O'Brien and we caught him on that slant, as soon as it went off, I'm like, oh, here we go. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think what it is, I don't even think it's route running ability. That dude, when the ball snapped, he just disappeared, just pop up somewhere. Because I've seen some horrible play before, but when this guy's burning you and you put in different types of things to try to stop the guy, you can't stop the guy. I'm just trying to make some type of plausible excuses because that dude was open more than, yeah.
Hey, how about jamming a guy once in a while so you don't get his route so easy? I mean,
he disappeared. You try to really gone, and then all of a sudden
he gets free release after free release.
It was actually not even just St. Brown when the other guy, what's his name, Caliph Raymond, number 11, came in. He was like, I'm gonna do the same thing St. Brown been doing all game, and he started burning the Bears.
Yeah, that's true.
This is horrible.
But you also got to get. I mean, I just give props where it's due, man. That boy St. Brown, man. He's a cagey dude, man. He shows up. It is what it is, but it's more so, like I said, with our defense. Plank, I'm gonna use it. Hopefully, I can get licensed to it. Their secondary, paltry. I'm sorry, man. But they only gave up 19 points though, too, despite it.
Yeah, well, you know the thing about them giving up 19 today, they did look uninspired at times. Detroit did, so it didn't look like Detroit had their foot on the pedal, even though they was driving the ball. And I guess it didn't help that the Bears did get that one turnover late in the game that stopped in that score. And
we needed that one.
Yeah, it needed that one. Yeah. But the Bears can. I guess it all starts up front. It doesn't matter on both sides of the ball if you up front doesn't work. Just like the Bears fixed their offensive line this year, they need to fix their defensive line. Their defensive line cannot generate pressure without help, and that's where it starts at. It doesn't matter how good your back seven are if those guys constantly need help. But when you got Jalen Johnson who thinks he's a lockdown and he's trailing all the time, I mean, that doesn't help either.
I'll tell you what, the Lions must have had a chicken flavored football or something, because Andrew Billings, he kept jumping outside.
Yeah. Like you right in front of the ball.
I can't wait to get this ball.
What you say he had on chicken flavor? He kept waving a hot dog in front of him. Come here, big boy. Come here.
But what was tripped out though, the second one he got was kind of it was really
it was dumb but smart.
It was smart, yeah, but
it was smart dumb.
He'll tell you I did it on purpose. Like, no, you can't.
Right.
Let me get a half dog mile or the fries you can give me.
Well, it might help if you tackled the guy before he got 9 yards down the field on first down every time. I'm like, man, what kind of strategy is this?
And Billings is like, sometimes he's just too big to be in there.
Yeah, he is.
Right? If the team is not running the ball, we actually sacrifice a pass rusher because he ain't rushing nothing.
Well, it ain't like he's stopping the run either. So I'm like, what are you doing?
He reminded me of that little boy in that meme video that hit the ball, and his mom was like, "Come on!" And he running, like he walking, like doing like this. That's like Billings just running, man. That dude is man.
What's that? What's that movie? Dun 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. The Chariots of Fire or whatever. Yeah.
They even faster him, and they was in slow motion.
That's him in the sprints.
That's him in the hula hoops on his waist. You know, like when you was a kid, you used to get the hula hoops. He carrying it on his whole waist as part of his uniform. I'm like, dude.
No, if Billings got a hula hoop, it is the state of Hawaii.
Hey, God, that was funny when you was talking, when you sent that text, or either you or Quick said that you get better coverage with bad car insurance.
Right?
Like
defensive backs.
Man, I said Geico would only gave up 3 points at halftime.
Wait a minute. You know what? I'm giving Billings a hard time, and he actually got a sack today.
That was by accident.
Well, yeah, obviously. Him and Gervin Dexter Sr., I'm like, dude, Goff had all day back there in the pocket. He sliced and diced. I think he threw for over 300 yards.
He was getting rid of the ball though, kind of quick in certain aspects though. Because I mean, shit, all these people was wide open. I mean, why are you holding on to the ball? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what bothers me is they can get that wide open that quick. I'm like, whoa. You started off 2 yards from the guy, and you 9 yards away. I'm like, dude, I didn't even try.
I bet you Goff was sitting up after them guys got wide open. Was like, for real? Okay, well,
Right.
look, David. All right, look, David. You're not gonna get a whole lot of touches today, man. If you're gonna get some touches, it's gonna be some catches. We about to sling that thing. And the funny part about it is,
Man.
just like we were talking about the last game they played, they gave up all the yards and they gave up all those points, but it was really close. This was indicative of what the last game was. It's almost the same type of situation, but it was a closer game. 400 something, 430 some yards that they gave up today.
Hey.
Yeah, they gave up 205 passing yards by halftime. So that's a whole lot. Now going into, I want to mention a few things in this game, and what they can't afford to do next week is when you get in field goal range early in the game, take the field goal. You got to take the field goal because you can't drive down the field and don't get nothing. So we did have a possession. I can't say if it was going to be a good field goal, but you got at least attempt. So you leave those points on the board a little early, but I know it would have been a long field goal, but you gotta get points whenever you on that side of the field. I want to say, what was that, like the third or fourth drive where they kind of got a field goal range and passed on it?
Yeah, but with Cairo Santos, I didn't have a whole lot of confidence that he was going to hit a 50-plus yard field goal. So, I'm thinking that's coming from Hightower, the special teams coach, is like, hey, what can you make today? And, Cairo probably said, I can make anything that's inside of 35 yards. Well, so can my kids, man. You got to be better than that as a professional.
That whole last sequence when we had the ball, man, everything was wrong with that thing. And then when he got that intentional ground, and it just seemed like you got a whole 2 minutes left. You could have ran the ball. You could have done some outs. You just could have just progressively moved the ball instead of trying to go for these home runs. And that's something you don't want to go into the playoffs with, man, because if we in that situation in the playoffs and we down like that, you're going against better defenses. You're going against better offenses. This hero ball stuff ain't going to work.
Yeah, I wouldn't describe it as hero ball, guy, because the first play was a quick slant that was a drop.
All right.
Okay. That should have been caught. Then the next play, it was a botched blocking assignment. It looked like it was I think it was Colston or somebody or Komet. They was coming across the block, and they fell down, and that was the man who got pressure, which caused the intentional ground. And so now at this point, you on third down and 20, and you just got to get what you can at that point and fun, right? Because you kind of backed up on your side of the field, and you don't want to risk a sack, and of course they're gonna bring pressure. But I get what you're saying, because on the interception, he could have taken another receiver right down. So I think it was Colston or somebody.
Colston, yeah. But I was saying hero ball in the respect of we can't go into playoffs being down like that, just consistently. It's like they played like I was saying before. I said it just felt like they were just there. They were just there. It was almost like it just seemed like in their minds the way they were playing, it was like, well, hey, if we lose, we lose. We already in the playoffs. We're going to be good. Let's get our minds ready for Green Bay and da-da-da. And if they were going to have their minds out, like I said, they could have played the whole second string. But all these games, we've 6 games this year that we've had come behind ball. It's great because they're wins, but we can't have that, because when you start doing enough, now you start thinking like, okay, yeah, we screwed up first quarter, second quarter. Okay, we screwed up third quarter. We screwed up, and in the last 5 minutes of the game, you just can't cut it on and off like that all the time, especially in the playoffs.
Dude, we just played that whole game for nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay.
We just played the whole game for nothing.
You're right. I tell you what, though, Dan Campbell clearly has Ben Johnson's number. And sometimes you actually have that. I don't know if it's because he watched him, as the offensive coordinator, calling all the plays before, and he got some insight to what he likes to do. But Dan Campbell is not afraid of Ben Johnson. This game was a lot closer than the last game, but Dan Campbell was just like, I'm not really, impressed by whatever Ben Johnson's doing. And sometimes you have that in those matchups. But at the end of the day, Detroit beat us twice this year, and that's the only team we didn't beat in the division.
Yeah.
Well, part of Dan Campbell's problem is he's only focusing on beating Ben Johnson. So let him keep doing that. You know, he needs to focus on beating some other people.
Yeah, you know what? He today I was expecting him to go for it on fourth down a lot more, and when he started kicking the field goals, I was actually relieved.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a chance. If they're kicking 5 field goals, okay, we got a chance, and that's the only way we ended up being in the game. And you know, at the end of the third quarter, I'm saying, wait a minute, we only down by 2 scores. It seemed like we were just getting drugged because they ran these long drives and 13-play drive, 14-play drives. The receivers are way in front of our DBs, but we were down by 2 scores. So, you know, we had 2 decent offensive series and ended up, you know, converting with that. So, you know, it wasn't the end of the world. I tell you what, I don't want to see that kind of game again. I think what may be happening though is going to the playoffs. It's going to be difficult for us to match up with Green Bay because again they got our number a bit, and even when we beat them, we never blew them out. But I'm happy that we don't have to face San Francisco. I think that's a worse matchup for us.
Yeah. Like those are great points. When watching this game and even watching last week and even the week before against Green Bay, the Bears have been getting away from running the ball consistently.
Yeah.
It's real sporadic when they're running the ball. It's nothing consistent because they had a little roll going. I think even Quick had mentioned it in the text.
Yeah, he did.
Swift was running good, especially right behind Darnell Wright. I mean, they was just moving the ball, Then all of a sudden they just take him out. Then when they bring in Manon guys, nothing against him, but if you got something, even if you switch backs, you keep going to the well that's open, right? Then all of a sudden they start running to the left. That guy was penetrating a lot, and he was kind of busting up in there. So they seem to not have consistency. And also what they're going to have to clean up going into the playoff is all these drops. It's too many drops the last few weeks. I counted at least about 7 drops today of balls that need to have been caught. And I want to say this too, man. I know people don't like hearing this because of the Green Bay game. DJ doesn't give enough effort for me at times. I'm glad Tom Brady called that play out because of people thinking you being biased against him. I ain't saying he kind of looked like he pulled up and stopped running on that play to me. And at the last minute, he pushed the defender almost into the interception.
Yeah.
Versus running through the play. And in worst case scenario, maybe y'all fighting for the ball and nobody catch it. But he kind of like almost like he was about to throw his hands up like, you know, it's over my head, you know.
Yeah, worst case scenario, grab his hand, get a pass interference or something.
At least you're going back this way. But Brady called it too. He said, you know, DJ, he said, but you got to do something to protect that ball.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Bears played like garbage.
You sure did.
They were not up to expectations, I'll tell you that. So especially with all of the fans and everybody in a frenzy and all of that, I expected them to come out a lot stronger.
But what's got to happen, though, they're not getting no type of pass rush. But shoot, you can't be looking up on the screen every time you look in the backfield. The only person that's back there is your boy Austin Booker.
Well, you know, part of the problem is we going into the playoffs on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah.
That high kind of went down because we clinched last week, even though we lost. We're like, we made the playoffs. Yeah, but we got to get better. We ain't heard nothing about good, better, best for a couple of weeks because we ain't won a game. So, but that's the same thing, the same mantra that Ben Johnson has been teaching the whole year. So I think it's still correct. I don't know if you can do anything in short term to get us ready to play Green Bay on next week, but that ain't gonna be an easy game.
Yeah, that good, better, best did rest. While your boy Andrew Billings was chasing chicken breasts.
And they was running too.
But you're right though, man. You know what? It's like the bread and butter for what we've always done and something that's worked for us. We've highlighted Monangai and Swift. Every time we went in and stopped being so egotistical and just gave those guys the ball, eventually we talk about breaking off 6+ yards. And it was to a place where you could look at the defensive players and they're like, man, we got to deal with this for a whole game. You're doing something great, and then all of a sudden Caleb drops back. And now it's almost like you're kind of letting them off the hook, man. We should just go back to running the ball like we were supposed to, with what got us there. Because this passing, and it's no disrespect to Caleb, but play action don't mean nothing now.
Yeah, it puts a lot on your young quarterback too when you want to go back and sling the ball every play.
Right.
I looked at the stats. The Bears had 9 rushing attempts in the first half, and then in the second half they had 7. They had 8 with Burden, and so that's not getting it done. That's not. And you look at like time of possession. Those are the things that you need to be. You need to keep this weak ass defense off the field.
True.
The more and more you throw it, the more the clock stops, and the more you have possessions for the other team to throw the football. We don't need that. Run the ball. And then, like I said in the text, like y'all just pointed out, man, Swift was cooking.
Man,
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
And then he was cooking last week. Take him out. If you're going to start the series with Monangai. Start the whole entire series with Monangai. But the guy that's running the ball, I mean, he's getting us first downs and everything. Swift, like we talked about in the pregame show, this is a different dude than the past, right? He's running the ball. He's running downhill. Man, he spent on one guy. I was like, oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He did the Matrix on him, right? And I'm like, whoa. And then now he's on the bench for the whole rest of the series. I'm like, man, why are we figuring out ways to stop our offense? Let the other team do it.
Hey,
It
Bernard.
seemed like today our offense was first, second, third, and fourth, and coasted. So
Yeah.
this dude,
he
was catching everything. We was throwing it to him every other play. I was like, is nobody else on the team even available? So
Right.
I think he ended up with 10 catches, and even with that, he had a couple drops. So I'm not sure what our personality is, and what it is we're trying to do going forward. But I think we better come to a conclusion pretty quickly.
Hey, Bernard, let me ask you this question. You were running back. Just say you're incorporating offense. You're getting the ball 2-3 times. You get some grips off. You're doing your thing, and then you go 4, 5, 6 plays where they pass. From your psychological aspect, does it make a difference? Do you kind of get sort of cold, or does it kind of sort of take your, take your momentum back, take you off your momentum when you're getting a chance to touch the ball, and now when in situations that that you could be touching the ball and doing something, they're passing, and then all of a sudden, out of necessity, they go back to you.
Yeah, I think it personally gets you cold because when you're running the ball, one of the art to running the ball is you feel the defenders, right? And after a couple of times running at them, you start figuring out their momentum, if they're running at you hard, what kind of angles, and that's where you actually could start setting them up for moves, etc. But if you get too much downtime between your last run, then it doesn't stick in your memory enough, especially if you're not running in the same place, right? You like all over the board. In this case, the Bears were not running. When I say not consistent, after they ran those few with Swift, it was nowhere on the field they was consistently running the ball. It was like, are you running left? Are you running through the A gap, B gap, C gap, right? Are you running it was just like, okay, we threw 2 times. Okay, let's just pass, let's just run just to get a run in. That's kind of how it felt. So if you look at between the two running backs, I think they had 15 carries. Something like that. I just had it.
Wait a second. The running back
between both of them,
15,
it was 16 between both of the running backs.
15 carries.
8.
Yeah, that's why I said it was 9 carries in the first half.
First half, yeah. So you fell off, yeah. So
we just stopped throwing. We stopped running the ball. Like, man,
and only 3.6 yards per carry too. Total.
Maybe we need to send a letter in and let Johnson know the last 2 times he tried this way, we lost. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, are you seeing the pattern that's developing here? And normally Swift would have about 15 to 16 carries, but Nungai would have like 10 to 12. up in that area, and that's been the winning formula. I mean, now you want to make a formula for doo-doo, and you make them run 16 times in one game. That's the doo-doo formula.
You see, I'm confused about what Ben Johnson said at halftime. He said this was a simple game plan that they had, one of the simple. Okay, to me, if you're saying that, then I wouldn't even play my whole starters the whole game then, because you're saying it's a simple game plan for this. So it's kind of like we're just doing something to kind of make sure we get a rhythm. But then you got your starters out there battling and looking bad for a simple game plan, which make it look like, you know, with him saying that, like Plank said, it makes it look like the other coach got your number. He didn't beat you twice. You can't really move the ball. He's killing you on offense. He's killing you on defense. You're just fortunate that a lot of that stuff turned into field goals, because if they had scored on them, you could have easily been down this game like 21-0 versus at one point you was 13-0. That could have been 21.
I just figured out what the problem was on defense. On defense, we only had 10 players most of the game. So nobody counted how many guys showed up. It looked like it was 11 players, but it was only 10 guys out there at one time.
Because Billings count is 2 players.
We're telling you that, and you wouldn't know the difference because
Billings count is 2 players on that.
You're probably right. Quick, what can you do to shore up your pass catching ability? I mean, as a wide receiver, I've never seen that many drops by wide receivers when they're wide open. So I'm not sure what can be done.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Just say concentration, right? That's you got to look the ball in, right? You just got to catch it.
Here's the thing too, and not really making an excuse for these guys, but Caleb has different arm angles and different speeds.
Man.
Like that ball he threw to Burton, you would think that's like the one that when he almost took Burton's head off coming across the middle of that slant. You would think it's like a little touch ball so he can keep catching and keep going. And that ball has some smoke on it, right? He like, hey, wait a minute, bro. I thought you was just going, man. And so some of that probably has something to do. He threw a ball today, man. I don't know how in the Mickey Ficky that he got that ball out of there.
That sidearm.
Yeah, I said, what the? It was like
did it before, because remember it was the last game, a game before last. He got Monungai when that blitz came off on his outside, and he just turned around. He did that. That's just something in his bag, I guess. I mean, but that ain't easy, man. Not just to throw it is one thing, but to be able to throw it and be accurate. But I think these kids, if you want to stop these guys, receivers from dropping balls, they need to start walking around dressing their footballs up like they kids. That's all I can think of. Well, then if they don't like their kids, they probably still drop them. They probably still drop them.
Yeah, that's a valid point, Quick. Making sure that you're not throwing too hard, in those situations when they're a few yards or it's getting up on you so fast. But after a while, right, you get to the end of the season, you got to be used to it. It is what it is. You know what? I'm liking what I'm seeing for what's his name, Jedi Walker. He got a touchdown today, and I'm hoping the Bears get Rome Odunze back. I don't know with him not being able to go these many weeks how effective he was going to be next week in the game, because he haven't played in about 6 games now.
His foot is fractured, right? Is it his foot was fractured
last time? Yeah.
That's
you might as well shut him down at this point.
Yeah, because even if he got a kind of can run on it and stuff like that, man, he's still like not 100%. He could risk breaking it again.
Well, I think Zakia should be out there distributing water, during the halftime and everything. That way, they could at least get some kind of use out of him, because I heard he was a wide receiver, but it doesn't look like he knows that he is.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even play today, did he? I don't remember seeing him.
Oh, he played.
Royce.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I just don't get it. Maybe it's just me, and I'm looking at it from a fan perspective. But just like with any sport, you've been catching footballs your entire life. Now you at the pinnacle of what you've done as a professional. Ain't no way in the world you should be dropping balls like that.
Yeah, I agree. That's the pressure, right? That's the pressure of the situation too, because don't get me wrong, man. Our rookies have been outstanding.
Yeah,
but they are the ones who've had the drops the last 2 weeks, too, in those situations. It happened both of them, but that happens, right? Young players. It's unfortunate that the Bears have to go to those players in pressure situations. Because you think about both of your touchdowns were by 2 rookies,
right? And most of your targets to the other rookies. So you're right.
But it was interesting. Something interesting that my coach told me in college. We had this guy that couldn't catch a cold butt naked in the Antarctic. He said, "Dude, don't think and don't blink." And I'm like, "Okay," but I understand it because now you're thinking about, I got to catch it. Now you're adding pressure. And another thing too is like when you blink, even if it's on the trajectory of where the ball's supposed to come and you blink, you still lose a second. And your eye and hand coordination off. I don't know. Like you said, it might be a pressure thing, but I thought pressure was what broke diamonds.
Okay. Yeah, if you look at the time possession in this game, they hit the ball almost 11
minutes more, yeah.
Yeah, what you got, Plank?
Man, I'm appalled by some of those pass catching attempts. I don't know what we can do to fix that, especially within short-term time. A week, we should actually be professional enough to know what we're doing. When you're thinking about it, like Antoine Randall L., we think he's a great player, and I think he's a decent coach. If he hasn't figured out how to get these wide receivers from dropping all these passes, I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to come up with anything quickly either. So I hope we can come out with a better game plan or something defensively. My feeling is I don't think we can do anything that's going to make us a better defense in the short term. This is who we are. We've been counting on a lot of turnovers and all of that.
Jalen Johnson. I'm sorry.
And replace him with who? Stevenson? Actually, I don't even see Stevenson out there playing at all today.
No, I haven't seen him either.
He had a
he was on the injury report.
He's on injury report. Yeah.
And then you still got guys that's going through this illness. Zacchaeus was still going through the illness. A couple other guys that showed up on the injury report because of the illness. And it might be the flu because a lot of people in the Chicagoland area have been getting the flu. So I'm trying to stay away from y'all with them cooties or whatever y'all got.
Maybe it's just my perspective as a fan, but I remember when I used to watch Seattle and I watched Richard Sherman. They playing zone. Dude was a god in the zone part, but then as they played man, I could have beat him off the line. So it's like I'm thinking, would it be better? I mean, I know it's hard to kind of change the scheme, but we do run zone defense. If we got a situation like that where guys are running ragged, wouldn't it be better off us to at least run zone?
If everybody knows their position and does what they're supposed to do, I've seen any number of times when the Bears were in zone and it's clear they're in zone, and Jalen Johnson didn't know he was in zone for whatever reason. So I don't know how you get to be a 5th or 6th year player and not know what defense you're supposed to be in. But it's pretty clear that, that's happening to a lot of the DBs. Gardner Johnson, that dude, he just does not have the foot speed to try to keep up with an outside, X and Y receiver. He just doesn't. And then, you try to put him on the slot, he can't keep up with him either. So he might be best suited for, playing a linebacker or trying to, disguise him in the linebacker position because he's decent tackler. But as far as coverage skills, I think the league is past that guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I hold Deion Sanders in such high regard. He doesn't tackle. Anytime a team won't even throw to that half of the field because they know you there, that's a cover corner for your ASS. And then we look at stuff like these guys and we'll look at
I'm sorry, I went to public school. What spelling wasn't my thing. No, go ahead.
I did too. But it just goes to show, like, for example, and I'm kind of sort of going off, but like, for example, somebody was like, Randy Moss is Randy Moss. And it was like, man, you see him, boy, Moss Reeves with that one-hand catch. But if you look back when Reeves Island was hot, Moss, T.O., none of them dudes was really getting nothing. And to be able to do that as a shutdown corner, it's hard. And you can look in the league right now. There ain't a whole lot of guys out here that can do that. And, of course, we can't. So let's see. I just had this conversation with my homie. I really feel we have a Super Bowl offense, but we also have a defense that can have us first-round exit. What's up, Mr. Garcia? Yeah.
Yeah,
He's right.
that's true. You know, that's if you look at the teams that's going into the playoff, the teams I was looking at it today. There's only one team that's going to the playoff who has less. Their defense is ranked 20 and below. That's Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears, yeah.
Everybody else who's making, I'm not saying their defense is good, but the only other person close to them is
it Seattle?
No, it's actually, it depends on who going, Panthers or the Panthers end up going. The Panthers, I think, is like 21 or 20 or something like that. But you got to play better defense. Now, we'll say this: it's how you play in that game. It's not really how you rank when you get to the playoff. Right. Can you match up against the team you're playing? That becomes the most important thing if you're matching up. But it's crucial if teams are looking at and they're able to do the same thing to you week by week, right? Because you're not going to always be able to successfully get stops in the red zone or they end up in the kicking field goals. Like even on that last possession, it was similar to last week, next to the last possession. Even though you punted, that team got the ball back with about 1:46 left. Yep. And they was able to hit a deep play on you that got them in field goal position. You got to make them work harder than that, and it's to the same guy that's been burning you all day.
Well, at this point, you know, we're not going to get any help. Help is not on the way. And, you know, the telephone is being answered from inside the house. We are what we are. One thing that the Bears still do have is that they have the ability of generating these turnovers. And that's the only reason that we even have a chance in the playoffs from a defensive standpoint. We can't stop them in the vanilla defense. So, you know, because we come up with interceptions or fumbles or whatever, if we can continue to do that, then we can go further. But our base defense is not actually stopping anybody.
No, and you're not tackling well either. I think the best stretch of tackling, ironically, is when all three of their linebackers were out and all the backups was playing. That was actually their best defense of stretch this whole season, because if you look at that stretch, that's when they held teams to the lowest scores. They were getting teams off the field because they seemed like they was tackling better. Today, they had a couple of situations where they could have maybe stopped the guy for maybe 1 yard or a loss, but a missed tackle allowed the person to get 4, 5, 6 more yards after that.
Well, at this point, this ain't about form or what have you. This is about business decisions. So a lot of these guys are like, hey, if I can get out of this game without hurting myself, then I finish the entire season and then I get a couple more dollars from the bonus. Instead of them thinking about what do I need to do to perform on the field, they kind of looking like, well, he's going down, but maybe I can run up behind him and pull him down that way. Every time I see that pile in there, you don't see anybody coming in trying to clear somebody out. You know, of course, I grew up in the era of seeing people like Ronnie Lott.
Yeah.
If other people were still standing, they just knocked the whole damn pile down.
Man. Yeah.
You don't see that no more. You're like, well, I'm going to hug him too, and maybe they drag us for an extra 4 or 5 yards. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Simeon said something about Peanut Tillman as being like the best corners he heard. But the thing that I loved about Peanut was the fact that Peanut used to wear you. He didn't stick you. He wore you. You would look at tapes. You would go look back at Peanut Tillman tapes, and it was kind of funny that you would look at him, and next thing you know, in every play, whether he got burned or not, he was there. It's like I look up on films of some of our defensive backs. You just see a receiver. It's like they could have made a playing card.
Yeah, it ain't really fair to go directly to Peanut Tillman because he's a Hall of Famer. You know, his ability to innovate and come out with things like the peanut punch. Nobody's ever thought to do that, and now this is a part of everybody's defense. Everybody's trying to punch the ball out. That's something that he's the one that designed that. So Peanut Tillman was definitely an innovator from a defensive standpoint. He was the first guy and probably the only guy I've ever seen that could battle Randy Moss man for man. So
yeah.
That guy, he was decent. He's more than
but Megatron co-signed for him, unless we already know what Megatron was.
Yeah,
I mean, but you got to, it's so much more to it, man. You got to, like you talk about business decisions. When you walk into the NFL, you know, one, you have to put your stamp on. Number two, it ain't just you could take this game on and off. I say 99.99% of the people that ever played in this league don't have that physical ability. You're not like a Deion Sanders or any of these other guys. You know, you have to play hard. But then instead of business decisions, all these guys are doing business decisions. The ones that's really playing hard, they messed up and didn't get the money, but they got one of these. And then dude got all this money. He's sitting in this villa and realized, man, my dollars are going up, but it ain't no zeros in there that can actually get me to get a ring.
Yeah, you know, watching this game again, I keep on bringing up Grady Jarrett. I thought what Grady Jarrett was going to bring also was some form of physical toughness. When I watch the Bears defense, it's like it's nobody that really put fear in you, right? Where a receiver who knows, okay, that guy out there, I'm just going to the dirt because I don't want to get hit by them that quick. So anyway, the Bears don't have enough attitude on defense, you know, like meanness.
They're nasty. Yep.
Nobody on there that's, I mean, the closest meanest person is probably CJ or Brisker. But Brisker ain't making no plays, so how he gonna be mean?
The last mean player that we had actually was Kevin Jenkins. He just couldn't stay healthy. You know, just a nasty attitude, man. And it's like any sport that you have, you got to have somebody with that goon mentality or to win a chip. I don't care. You can look back at the history of the game. Every team that has won a chip, they got that one player that got kind of like a screw loose. You need that dude.
Yeah. So what we're talking about now is somebody with like Mike Singletary's personality.
Yeah.
Mike Singletary would help you up after tackling you, but while the play was going, he would try to knock you into the next week.
Yes.
And you know, he was a serious professional. I know the game has changed now, and you know people don't play it the same way, but it really gets on my nerve watching a whole pile of people, you know, the running back running, and then all of a sudden you see 3 or 4 offensive linemen pushing and the defensive linemen pushing. I'm like, nobody thought to grab his legs and just get him down? I mean, I don't understand how they play that.
Or to stand him up. You know, to stand up where they want to get him. You get to him, hold him up for me. You get a guy that just don't even, his job is the first guy to get to it, his job ain't even to tackle. His job is to get the dude, hold him up, and the next dude come and gonna smoke him.
Well, you know what? I used to do that. I did that to Eric Frazier a couple of times and Andre Bullock, and they were kind of mad. It was like, Plank, you know, you keep hitting me in the back. I say, hey, by the time I get there, anybody standing up is going to get knocked unconscious. So,
yeah. Mark Carrier. I remember Mark Carrier. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, the bad part about the Bears on defense is you got to be in the area to knock people unconscious.
That
You gonna knock the air out? What you gonna knock the space out? Like,
you ain't like your boys in the hood when Ricky got killed, just swinging in the air. He's like, oh, ain't nobody.
Nah, it's gonna be like Plank in the dojo shadow boxing. Like, damn, there's nobody there.
But Plank will at least
win, though.
Yeah, but Plank will at least give somebody a quarter off the street to come here. Stand right here for a second. Okay, just stay right there. Boom.
What the?
You
Just
know,
like what is it?
we just don't have a whole lot of talent on that front seven. I mean, and it kind of hurts. It's hard to tell how good or bad the linebackers are because they have no protection by the defensive linemen.
That's
And
right.
you know, we still paying Sweat whatever we paying him. I don't know if he's playing most of the doggone games. He's never said
And the Packers suck
from a defensive standpoint. So I don't know.
Yeah,
the Packers suck.
Plank had mentioned that before we started that he thought Komet might have had a concussion.
I do think he's
that 2-point try. Yeah, he looked a little delirious after that play.
Yeah.
Who got my Snickers?
You know what? Komet made another catch today where he was standing up on the sideline and he actually ran through a tackle and made a few yards. That was amazing to see. Komet making catches standing up.
Why we don't run that? I mean, you know, you got the double tight ends, which are both threats, right? I mean, y'all saw the 2-point conversion play where he failed, almost leg whipped the guy and all that. And when they showed the replay of it, I was like, dang, I didn't even know that was him. Yeah. And he had enough awareness to get up. But they needed to run more 2 tight end sets, you know.
They got even 3 tight end sets. That number 81 been going there. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. You know what, Frank? That was different today too, because I don't know, was he out on illness or something? But instead of bringing him in, they brought in
86.
Yeah. In that position at not linebacker, but as fullback on the plays that they ran. And so some of the things they did today was a little disjointed. And I would say you are, like you mentioned, they're going into this playoff with a 2-game losing streak. But I think Green Bay is going into the playoff with a 4-game losing streak.
Well, they may as well make it 5.
And maybe, and depends on what's with Jordan Love. I know it's going to be ain't no way in the world he's not going to play, but man.
Well, I'm worried about them.
I don't know.
Our DBs are running behind people. Apparently, they never ran track and nothing. No, the goal is for you at least to keep up within range of the guy that you chasing. You can't be 3 yards behind the doggone guy and he running, trip him, bite him, do something.
They all that fell, just trip him, right?
Yeah.
That was my whole thing all these years, man. And I said as a joke, but I meant it. It's like, think about the logistics of it. You trip them, you get a penalty. It's better than a touchdown.
I don't know, guy. You said something on the text how it seemed like our DBs was fighting like they was in a karate movie, waiting for their next term.
Yeah, because it was like the dude in the karate movies. It'd be the 2 principals fighting, doing their thing, and the dudes in the background they just be doing this. That's what it just looked like. I mean, I'm on Ross St. Brown. He caught the ball and is running. And I'm looking at defensive backs, they just doing like this. And it's like, you tackle him, you tackle him, you tackle him, you tackle him.
Are you talking this quick? I see your mouth moving.
He's on another call. Yeah.
He's on this. Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Guys, what needs to happen?
I don't know. Are we giving grades or what? Because this I'm trying to get over this because this was taxing.
No, everybody writing, I will not drop balls and I will be in coverage 10,000 times.
If I thought that would help, I would have them do that.
Well, no, I can't do that to the receivers because their hands are cramp up.
You know what? I give let's give credit to Caleb Williams. He was at least able to pass Eric Kramer today for the most passing yards by a Bears quarterback in a single season. I don't know how the exact number, but it was somewhere around 39
something.
Yeah. He came about 70. What'd you say? About 76 yards short of.
It was like 59 yards short.
59 short of 4,000.
Sure. If DJ had caught that ball or some way or another, it still could have been a chance he might even got the $4 grand. But I don't think they care about that.
Hey, look, they did a thing on the drop passes, and I know Plank mentioned it a few weeks ago. The drop passes, he would supersede 4,000 yards. they have almost 300 yards of drop passes, and that's counting where they drop the ball at. You don't know how many yards they're gonna get after they catch it, but that's where they drop the ball at. They have close to 300 yards because I think it was like 250 about 2 weeks ago.
It was
352 in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
252.
It was 352.
352.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay, so 400 in. Yeah.
Man, Simeon just say he giving everybody a D plus. I ain't mad at you, brother.
Fair. You can't get special team a D plus today
because they didn't even get a chance to do nothing.
I don't know that they did anything, but
they were there. That's it. So you just gotta give them incomplete.
Yeah, that's what I would give them.
Did I say Jalen Johnson sucks?
Yeah, you mentioned it.
Oh, all right.
I think you did, yeah.
I'm sorry. I've been in this baseball meeting too, man, and I just throwing in my points and saying Jalen Johnson sucks.
Yeah.
Well, you've yet to have anybody disagree with you, so.
Hey, before we get grades, a quick. I was on Instagram and somebody had, they floating the idea about Max Crosby. I know this next year, and I had Jalen Johnson as one of those that you trade with, along with giving away a first round pick. And somebody was like, "What are you talking about?" I didn't even have the energy for it. I'm like, obviously, you ain't been watching Jalen Johnson this year. He's trailing constantly since he's been back, and he was starting to look slow even last year. And he used to be able to brag about kind of like what Guy hinted at with Deion Sanders, where when Stevenson was a rookie, they target him a lot. Because why? He was a rookie. And so Jalen didn't get his target as much. But now what we're seeing is there is some hesitation to throwing towards Nation, right? Because of the interception. And Jalen is actually being targeted, I would say, the most. You actually putting guys in motion onto his side to get that matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he makes a quarterback's rating go up because the quarterback looks to see what motion he going. He's like, oh, he on Jalen Johnson. I'm gonna make sure I get back to him and get him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. The guy got one interception this year, and that interception was because the receiver dropped the touchdown in the end zone. I'm like, you can't even go and be bragging, man. I got that interception, and I'm like, dude, you was burnt.
Man, dude, did y'all see what you see what Simeon said? Why could Cairo Santos just come off the line and make a tackle with St. Brown?
Hey, you don't want Santos to be the one trying to make no tackle. That ain't gonna go out well.
Well, his leg is strong. If he trip him, he gonna fall. That's funny.
My grades are simple, man. My grades is I'm giving out D's. I'm giving out D's to every unit. I'm giving D's to the coaches. I'm giving D's to the offense, defense. I no grade for special teams because they didn't have to do anything in this game.
Yeah, you giving out a lot of D's. That's a bad thing. That's a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, offense definitely got they got a C minus D plus. At least they showed up in the fourth quarter and made it close. Defense got a D, and I'm giving them that D, even though I gave them points for that interception. That's the only defensive play they made the whole game. Special teams, I think they were there, but they didn't really do anything. So I'm just glad to get this game over. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that we got the second seed, and let's hope we gonna look better in the playoffs.
Yeah, let's just kind of be glad because we are not used to, since this broadcast has been out, for us being really in the playoffs and actually have a possibility of trying to do something. But yeah, let's see. I'm not really a super big fan of Johnson, never have been, but I don't think he's fully healthy. And I really like the two young corners that we have, Frazier and Johnson. But they say, hey, if you're on the field, you're not injured.
So, there you go.
There's
injured and there's hurt.
Yeah.
If you're hurt, you can play. If you're injured, you can't.
Yeah, but see, the thing is too, a lot of times I think it goes into the psychological portion of it, man. Because if you think about it, really honestly, every NFL player is hurt starting the very first game they play in the league up until they end. You will never 100% fully covered. The dudes that end up wearing that yellow jacket at the end, like look at Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott basically broke his finger off and told the dude, it was like, well, you know what? We can go surgically repair it. You're out 4 to 6 weeks, you're out the playoffs. And he said, cut it off. I'm not saying everybody should have that, but to have that mentality as a player, it doesn't matter if you hurt. You know, if you hurt, if you're hurt, you get out there and just ball till you fall, man. Like you were saying, man, I agree 100%, man. It just seems like business decisions to me because it was like one of the most pedestrian shows of a defensive back series of players that I've seen in a long time, man.
Well,
You got a grade, guy?
I'm wondering whether or not any of the wide receivers
D's.
like remember the Titans and put them on defense.
I'm giving everybody D's, man. And then special teams is going to be incomplete.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's all I got, man.
That's pretty much all we all got.
Yeah. Hey, so what we can do now is we have to just get ready for the playoff, and you meet Green Bay for the third time, and both games were close games, and it came down to a final play. The thing about division opponents, those games are normally close anyway, right? Because you play each other all the time. You have a feel for each other, and both games was a matter of who can make a play at the end that could win. But going into this game, there are some uncertainties about Green Bay. I know Guy mentioned Jordan Love. It's a little suspicious that they actually played their third string quarterback today, which is a little odd that you went over to the third string. And I know Malik Willis had a
shoulder.
He suffered a shoulder thing from when they last played the Bears.
Yeah.
So it could be that they're trying to get both guys healthy to play, but I don't know if it's a guarantee if Jordan Love is going to play. Not that you even planning for that, you plan for him to play, but I think that's a little suspicious that neither one of them suited up today.
He got as much chance of playing as Kyler Gordon. We ain't even heard his name no more, right?
And he makes a huge difference, man. I mean, just the speed and everything he has. But I think that they kept your guy because think about it. Whether Green Bay won or lost, they still were going to be at the same spot. And you don't know what Jordan Love's going to look like. You know, he may be 100%. He might be 94%, but he could possibly be in a situation where he gets in the game. I'd rather see J-Lo. You want to put him in a situation where it's okay, we in the playoffs and Jordan Love get knocked out and this dude's shoulder's messed up. Now you got the third string quarterback. Just let him get the reps and let guys heal up.
Yeah. So that's the tough part when you come to that. You got a home game advantage with Green Bay. You just got to be able to make those stops when you need to make those stops. You can't allow them to dominate the time possession and run the ball. Run the ball. Don't get away from running the ball. This really help your play action, running the ball. It seemed like when they dominated the Eagles with running the ball, you would have thought that, and I'm not saying like the Bears haven't did a good job running the ball, but it seemed like after that dominant performance against the Eagles running the ball, they have ran the ball less since that game.
Yeah.
Which is weird, right? They look like they would have ran the ball more, but they have actually been, I believe, running the ball less since that Eagles game, where you actually had you had over 200 yards, 230, 40, whatever, between your two backs. Mm-hmm. After that, I think, I'm trying to remember, is there a game that since then that any of those guys got 100 yards? I don't think neither one of them has got 100 yards in the game.
With the 100, I don't think so either. I mean, but you know what, too? Here's another thing. They've abandoned the run, but you keep running the ball. You just keep going until they can show you that they could stop them. You know, I could never understand that, man. I'm looking at the Bears, how dynamic we are when we run the football. And like I said, I'll look at defensive players from the other team, and you can look at them gas like, man, they about to run this ball again. And then you got Manon guy running to people like a Mack truck. I don't care how big you are as a defensive lineman, tackle, safety, or whatever. You got somebody like that coming at you at full speed and hitting you for 4 quarters. You get a level of attrition. But when we abandon that whole running game, it takes our identity away. You know, it completely takes our identity away. So now you got what? We got what? Counting Luther Burden and Caleb Williams, we had a total of what? 18 carries, and we're a running team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get ready next week. I mean, you know, I know all of us would have loved to end the season on a win, and I think trying to take positive momentum into the playoff is better than sitting and resting your players, right? But the effort they showed today, they might as well have rested their players. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. That they didn't put together enough effort to just hey, because at least if you rest your players in this type of output, at least you could say you could blame it on our starters didn't play, right? But that just wasn't the kind of effort. I really was hoping to see a game where you know you battled, and you got to halftime, you know, and it was a good game. And if you start pulling people in the third, but it still showed a lot of effort, even if you was down slightly, you pulled some of the guys, etc. But when you looked at this game, you're going into the fourth quarter and you're still down. You still got a goose egg.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. If you bring the second string players in, and I know people talk about this preseason. You see what they did when they brought them. We played Kansas City in the preseason. They brought all them dudes was trying to fringe out, try to make a squad. Them dudes was playing like they was playing the Super Bowl. You put the second string in, it's a whole bench full of guys thinking, man, if I play good enough, I can get a spot next year. I could possibly start. I get more time. I bet you every last one of them would have been inspired. And even if they lost, people say, oh, we expected them to lose because it was a second string. But I really honestly think on this game right now, if you put the second string in, we probably would have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe it.
For a reason.
Yeah, they are second string. Yeah. We could have saved face, yeah. But if you put the second string in, see, but you got nothing to lose. You can't. It's like, well, you know what? They're not expected to win. But I just think that even with talent only takes you so far, man. It's like how bad you want it. And per man, I'm looking at them guys. The only guy that really had some moxie was your boy Billings, thinking that he could get closer to a dog on Harold's chicken menu if he got to the quarterback. I can't see. I ain't got my glasses. Let me jump. Oh, dang. I forgot. I ain't even a Harold's chicken in the game.
You got to clean up those kind of penalties when you go to the playoff because you can't afford to give a team 2 third down conversions. I think one was a 4th down conversion. In fact, one was a 4th down conversion where a team was on the verge of actually about to get a delayed game. Yeah. And you jumped with about 2 seconds left. I was even convinced that they was even going to run that play with the first time he jumped off because where the clock was at that time. So crap. I don't know if they lost track of it or was they trying to bait the Bears or what was going on.
You guys have mentioned this all year long about the penalties making a difference or whatever it is. We only have 4 penalties for 35 yards. And the funny part about it is it goes into that whole thing with the stats. You know, like people look at stats and didn't watch the game and say, oh, this is why. They're going to look at that like y'all usually get like 7, 8 penalties or something like that and you lose a game. Y'all have 4 penalties. But it just goes into the numbers. It wasn't the fact that we only had 4 penalties. It was 2 of them that we had that just kind of killed a lot of momentum.
Yep. So what day did they give the date we're gonna play next week? Are we playing a Saturday game, Sunday game?
I hope we play on Saturday.
Man,
okay.
I agree.
Yeah. So, man, this you know, this is gonna be. You know how Green Bay said when we won, we was acting like this was our playoff. Yeah, this is our Super Bowl. Man, I want the Bears to be able to go in with that same intensity of that game because that's the kind of mockery that they make of Bears fans, the Bears organization, where people will say, oh, y'all beating us is like winning the Super Bowl, you know, and we have to go in and show them by beating them to say beating you is going to get us closer to a Super Bowl.
But when that's all you got, because considering that 99% of the people that talk trash about Chicago spend more time here than they do in their own city.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Yep. Hey, did y'all have anything else before we close out for the night, man? You know, man, we didn't get to do our good, better, best. Never let it rest.
We ain't did that in a while. So
We get
there.
All I got is free Pablo. That's all I got.
Hey, thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, subscribe to Bears Banter on YouTube. Make sure you share this podcast with your friends and leave the notification button on so when we drop new content. And let's get ready for the Bears playoff game. It's the first time the Bears have been to the playoffs since the 2020 season, which was our first season of this broadcast. They made it that year because they added one playoff team, and they was an 8-9 team that year, or whatever it was, 8-8, whatever it was that year. Somewhere in there they added the extra game. So this is the first time since that first year that we able to even talk about a playoff in the Chicago Bears.
Playoffs? Okay, then go ahead.
You're talking about playoffs? Hey, until next time, peace.